Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Yeah.
And to the surprise of no one,
This is my favorite cultural news show couple.
Brothers Discovery is announcing that it is for sale.
Woo!
Shocker, I
Oh, fuck. Who's going to buy it? Israel, Saudi Arabia? Who's getting it?
tell you.
Big shocker, yes. And they're announcing this because they're trying to get multiple bids, and they had a Skydance bid that fell through, but I think they're just angling for more money. I think the Ellisons will probably wind up with Warner Brothers before it's all said and done. I can't really think of anyone else who's qualified.
Warner Brothers, the search for more money.
Pretty much, right? Search for money. I mean, at this point, they're
the discovery of more money.
they're not
Search for any money.
I mean, they've had, they've had a couple hits at the box office lately, but they have not been doing very well. And Zaslav...
That's what I keep saying about all these games, especially Xbox. They keep coming out with slop, but they're making more money than ever. Okay. Okay. Warner Brothers was doing the same thing. And all of the companies in the past, AOL, even though they're not a gaming company, but that's Microsoft. Like, dude, all these companies, Sega, Atari, they got way too big for their britches, made way too much money too fast, and then all of a sudden, they did too much, and it all crashed immediately around them. It happens just like that.
He's a disaster,
Well,
right?
they haven't been overpaying him this whole time. I mean, when he came in, I was kind of like, okay. He was making some choices I thought were good.
Everything's going great. Dude, everything has been going great, apparently, for Warner Brothers. And then all of a sudden we get news that it's for sale. Just out of the blue, out of nowhere. And that's how it happens every single time. They like to gaslight people and say, no, everything's fine. We're actually doing really good. We're making more money than ever. We're having more hits than ever. And then they start canceling shit all over, man. And then they're like, well, we're still making so much profit. And then they announce, well, we're for sale.
But then that just kind of... And then he's the one that kind of took a bunch of stuff off and wrote it down. Then after he did it, Disney started copying it.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about
Disney needs to be careful because they're gonna have to start selling off a bunch of their studios and a bunch of their companies. They've already been doing that, but they're about to do it even more. I'm predicting next year is going to be really bad for these corporations. And I think eventually, if Disney doesn't turn around and actually start doing right and if they don't stop pushing the propaganda and the woke shit, then they're going to end up themselves being sold off. And it's just like something got into our country, into our culture to destroy all of these companies so they can be sold off to other countries. And that's what I've been saying for years. That this is where it was going to lead.
This it's making the waves. I mean, look, nobody should be surprised because the way Hollywood is going right now, it's becoming Highlander, right? Like all these companies blew themselves up with streaming. Then we had the pandemic, and that definitely hurt a lot of these companies' bottom line because they couldn't open up the theaters and
also they were seeing record numbers for the streaming services, and everybody opened up streaming services, and it kept generating more and more and more. And then all of a sudden, everybody was let outside, and all these corporations really didn't want that because they were making so much money, especially with all the mom and pop stores that shut down. And then all that was left was the corporations that were essential services. And we had all the essential workers, and they were making record profits because of that. And that's the way they wanted it. I think it was done on purpose, if you ask me. But then everybody comes back home, and they really, these woke freaks that are at all these corporations really didn't want that to happen. They're still pushing for it. They're still pushing, like, that COVID is still here, and people are wearing masks, all these leftist freaks. I say leftist. I should start saying leftoid more, because they really are leftoids. They're not really leftists. They kind of just pretend to be. They're just violent freaks who want control.
Their movies just kind of died. And then we had a lot of really
damn, that was a rant.
Shitty content for years. And, here we are. Years and years of bad decisions and unfortunate macroeconomic headwinds.
But Fables, they were doing so good. What happened? Dude, I'm right about everything. All the time. Maybe not in my real life, but whenever I say things online, about 98% is true. It's correct, and it ends up happening. My predictions always come to fruition. And it's not even really because of my predictions, because I'm all that smart. I just follow people who also see the same patterns that I do. And I'll say some patterns that I'm noticing, and other people will confirm. They will say some patterns that they're noticing, and I'll be like, yep, that's definitely happening. And then here we are.
And a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and we'll see what happens. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So we're going to go out to Cartoon Brew. They've got it. A couple other places, obviously CNBC. But the reason we're going to Cartoon Brew is this is going to have an effect on Cartoon Network, or what's left of it. And also...
Good riddance. I don't care. They stopped being good after like 2009. I don't even know what the last good Cartoon Network show was. But as soon as they started doing real life content, they were fucked. Whenever Cartoon Network was making IRL content, like, give me a fucking break, dude. And then Teen Titans Go ruined them because it got super popular. It got more popular than Cartoon Network, and it was garbage. It was making kids annoying. And then that's all that they played. Reruns constantly. And you know, that's just what happens to every fucking company that ends up doing stuff like that. And then they start pushing out their most popular content constantly because that's what gets the views. And then they don't make anything good and new.
So DC Comics, that's a big question too. What happens to DC Comics?
CNN.
The last show that I watched on Cartoon Network was Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I'm pretty sure that was the last one. No, I was watching regular show. And I started Adventure Time back when it first aired. I didn't like Adventure Time. I still don't like Adventure Time. Leave me hate down there in the comments for me not liking Adventure Time.
And CNN, they're supposedly doing this. This is like a side tangent, but they're doing this new CNN streaming service. After the first thing Zaslav did when he came into Warner Brothers was he got rid of the CNN streaming service that they spent like $500 million on.
Yeah, and now they're restarting the CNN streaming service. Like, what the fuck is going on here? They failed multiple times with a streaming service, and you know what? They're gonna do it again. They're just gonna fail again. I don't get it. Nobody cares. Nobody's interested in that.
$1 on it, yes, and a month. They had it for a month.
Dude, these old news shows, these news cable shows, are boring. They're fucking boring. Nobody wants to watch that shit. Oh man, I burped. Coffee. Nobody wants to watch that shit. Everybody wants to watch people like Asmongold. Or, God forbid, Hassan Piker.
A month. So burn that money. I bet they wish they had that money now. They burn it because they thought they could make more. And now here they are back to, you know, trying to get people to subscribe. And people are burnt out on subscribing to like 50,000 different platforms. I mean,
we said this was going to happen.
I've been out on streaming platforms since Cuties was a thing on Netflix. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm not going to pay for all these platforms. I'm done with all of them because of what Netflix did. Fuck them all.
But everybody started their own platforms. So it used to be like Netflix and Hulu. And it was like, okay. And then people make content for them. And if you go back on our videos, as soon as we said, oh, HBO's going to have one. And Paramount's going to have one. And they're all,
I remember.
And Apple and everybody and their brothers having one. We're like, it's going to be Highlander. They're going to build it just like the blogs, because at the time the blogs were doing this. And they're just going to eat it.
By the way, they just removed Claymore from Crunchyroll. And now there's no place to watch it on streaming. So the only place that you can actually watch it is if you unconventionally acquire it. And this is just the way of the streaming services. If buying isn't owning, you know what I mean?
Each other up, and then you're still going to go back to having one or two. And that's exactly what happened. Disney has Hulu now. Yeah. You know, they're going to probably sell out, you know, HBO and that to a investor. It's exactly what we said was going to happen.
Yeah, isn't Disney shutting down Hulu?
And, you know, they just raised the price on HBO Max as they're announcing they're for sale. Yeah, so they're hard up for cash, right? And really the only people I can think of,
but everything's going so good, record profits,
that have the kinds of money and would have the interest would be the Ellisons. Of course, you know, they own Skydance. They bought Paramount.
Dude, this is what people don't understand about like services like Ubisoft and Xbox. They go good, make record profits. Everything's great. But if you're noticing the patterns, you can really see where this is all going. And then eventually, overnight, news hits. Hey, we're fucked.
But I could see Paramount and Warner Brothers actually getting together.
They were saying that they could even team up with somebody. The Ellisons could even team up with somebody else to get Warner Brothers if they needed to. Like they were talking, I forget which one they said about teaming up with, but they had mentioned that if it got too expensive, they wanted to, they could have teamed up with somebody else to get it.
I think they're going to wind up with that. I think they're just trying to get more money is what I think's going on. But here it is, coming from Cartoon Brew. Warner Brothers Discovery has officially confirmed it's fielding offers for a potential sale, acknowledging for the first time that the entertainment giant is on the market after weeks of speculation. The company's board of directors announced Tuesday
that's how it happens.
It has initiated a review of strategic alternatives to maximize.
Announced Tuesday. That 2 days. It took 2 days for this to happen.
Shareholder value following unsolicited interest from multiple parties for both the entire company and just Warner Brothers itself.
Yeah, because they said there are other people that were interested, but they rejected the deal from Skydance because they said they wanted more per share, and already they were offering more than what the shares are worth.
Well, the shares are going up. I mean, where are they up to like $5 a share?
My next question is, no, it was like 17 or something at the time. Now it's 18, so it was 17 at the time. Here's my next thing. How many times has Warner Brothers not been sold in the past like 10 years? It's like, what, the third time?
So they went to AT&T. They were part of, they were Time Warner, and then they were part of AT&T, and they were part of AOL. And they get sold all the time. I mean, seriously,
they've been sold. This is like the third time in the past like several years that this company's been sold. I'm like, that tells you something right there.
I think eventually all of their IPs are gonna either be trashed or sold off, and then they're just gonna completely dismember the company, and there just won't be Warner Brothers anymore. And I'm kind of here for it.
Warner Brothers has been passed around more than some kids in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
This decision comes as WBD continues to work on its previously announced plan to split into two independent media companies, Warner Brothers Discovery, which makes none of this makes sense, right? Make this make sense. We're going to merge Warner Brothers with Discovery, right?
Right.
Okay, and then we're going to merge those two together, and they don't make any sense because one does like mostly reality TV and live action cheap shit, and the other one's like one of the most storied movie studios in history, entertainment history, right?
I prefer Discovery, but yeah.
Well, okay. But they're gonna.
I prefer Warner Brothers from the 90s. Dude, when we had the Batman cartoons going on, it was top tier, and then going all the way to the Dark Knight movies. Well, the third one was kind of fucked. The end of Dark Knight was kind of fucked because of what happened to what was his name? Heath Ledger, the guy who played Joker. That sucks. Nowadays, they would have just AI generated him and put him into the movie.
They're gonna merge those two together, and then they're gonna try to turn it into one cup. Then they're gonna split them up. It's just like Zaslav came in. And
you're gonna have Warner and Brothers Discovery at this point. It's not going to be Warner Brothers and Discovery. It's going to be Warner and Brothers Discovery. They're going to split it off wrong.
Like, okay, we got CNN streaming. We spent a bunch of money on this. Okay, cancel that. Oh, now we're going to do that. Like, clearly, he doesn't know what he's doing.
No, the splitting up thing, I think, was they're trying to offload everything onto.
You know what happens? This is DEI at the worst, or at its best, I guess. This is what happens when you put DEI in everything and you just make slop that no real people want to watch when you make stuff for a modern audience. Or even worse, actually, because at least they're trying to make something for somebody. A lot of these people want to make something for themselves, and it fucking sucks. Like Joker 2. What the hell was that? Dude, you had such an easy W, and you fucked it up on purpose to own all of the people who liked the first one. Why would you do that? Why did Warner Brothers even allow that to happen? I don't get it.
Wanted to put the debt onto it. It's what I think was going on. They were trying to spin off the debt, which we said at the time, and other people said after.
Okay, so
I'm gonna make my own version of Superman, and nobody liked it. Well, I guess Superman fans liked it, but the like people that you needed to reach people that were barely on board. Superman's kind of a boring character. So you got to do something crazy, like Man of Steel, but more over the top than that. And it was just mid. It was just very mid.
Yeah, right. That happens a lot. We seem to do a lot of people's homework for them.
Well, I mean, just the media. It was they were saying it after.
But okay, so this.
I think all the people that think everything that's been going on is good are just social media brain rotted, and they're reading all of the articles from all of the corporate companies that gas up all of the corporations that are making all the slop. And they're like, Superman is the biggest hit of the summer, and they're like, yeah, that movie's great. Yeah, like I don't fucking get it, man. Like with Tron right now, a bunch of people are saying Tron wasn't that bad. Why is everybody hating on it? If you've got anybody in the regular audiences that are saying something's bad, you fucked up. Right there, you fucked up. I'm seeing a lot of people with Tron, they're like, well, Tron failed at the box office. Tron Legacy failed at the box office. This new one failed at the box office. Guess what? That's probably because they keep getting worse. And the first one wasn't that great either, even though I love that movie. It's like a 7 out of 10. And then Tron Legacy is a 6 out of 10. And then Tron Ares is a 5 out of 10. And it's got a whole bunch of DEI woke slop politics in it. And around it. And the people who are in it are also into all that garbage. And they're also a bunch of sex freaks.
This would be like, companies can do this, right? They can spin their debt off into another company. That'd be like
shit.
That'd be like having a kid and then being, you know what?
Dude, I'm on a fucking rant today on this topic.
Well, you know what, Timmy? I'm going to give you my mortgage and my student loans and my car loans, and that's all in your name now. And Dad's just going to walk away.
Dad's going for milk.
Dad's going for milk, and you get all the debt. And that's how it works. But corporations can do that. Individuals can't do that, but corporations can do it. It's weird. Yeah. So let's see. They're going to split the companies by mid 2026. Oh yeah, and forgot about HBO to HBO Max to Max. Back to HBO Max. What the hell?
And then Apple was doing the same thing, and now it's Apple. I think it was Apple. It was Apple Plus.
Apple
and now
TV, and then Apple TV Plus. Now it's just Apple TV.
And you know how much money they spend each time? I'm thinking they might.
Dude, they spend so much money to change the logos, because when they change the logo, they got to change the logo everywhere. That, like, why would they? I don't get it, man. A bunch of corporate freaks get in, and they have no idea what they're doing, and they want to put their mark on the company, I guess. Well, they really put their mark on the company.
Need like write-offs or something.
Marketing.
So how can we get some kind of like huge write-off for something super stupid?
Yeah, they just want a bunch of marketing and articles to say, hey, HBO changed the name. So then it's in everybody's heads that, oh, there's a new version of HBO. It's going to be so different. And then it's not. And usually it's worse. Even if they get better, it's just a little bit better from when it got worse.
Oh, I know.
Call up that Cracker Barrel agency, and we'll last about 2 months, and then we'll just do it all over again. Anyway, they said the new review expands the board scope to include a transaction for the entire company or separate transactions. Okay, this is what's interesting. Or separate transactions for Warner Brothers and or Discovery.
So they can sell them separately? Is that what they're asking?
Yeah, they can sell them separately.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's going to be like all of Warner Brothers. They might be like, you know what? We'll just sell you DC Comics, or we'll just sell you Cartoon Network.
Well, technically, they could piece everything. They
could. They've already sold stuff.
That's what I was saying, man.
Like they're buying it.
Eventually, it will happen. If it doesn't happen like that this time, it might happen next time or the time after that. That's usually where all this goes. Whenever they just have years and years of failure, then they just start selling off the IPs and then crumbling the ones that they can't sell.
Out. They want to buy everything?
The company may consider an alternative separation structure that would enable a merger of Warner Brothers and spinoff of Discovery Global to our shareholders. They were having a fire sale when this merger happened.
Fire sale.
They were selling back some of their worthless IP, like Rooster Teeth. They sold it back to Bernie Burns and.
Wait. So they're basically their other answer is we're just going to do what we're going to do. We're split it into companies, and then we're going to sell off the movie one and then keep the Discovery one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, as long as they're keeping Discovery, somebody's keeping it going.
The standard plan now costs $20 per month. What the fuck? Who wants to do that? The premium costs $23. Why? Because it's cheaper than buying movies. But then they remove the shit and they get sold off all the time, and then you just lose shit. And like the service gets enshittified, and they sell off licenses to other companies, and then they remove them from their own. Like, this happens all the time. If you want everything, you've got to purchase all of the streaming services. But even then, they'll do things like Crunchyroll just did with Claymore, and they'll just remove it and not license it out, and then you just don't get to watch that thing that you want. And then you got to buy that if you want to watch it on top of all these streaming services. And you might as well, for the money that you're spending, you might as well just buy them or unconventionally acquire them, because why the fuck wouldn't you do that at this point? It's easier than doing everything else, and it's way cheaper. If I could buy DRM free files online, I would do that, like a GOG service for movies. They've even talked about doing it. And I hope that becomes a thing, especially going forward. That would almost completely dissolve piracy, I think. Because a big problem that piracy has is that whenever you download it and it gets deleted, you may not be able to find it again, or it's really hard, or you get a broken version, or it's like full of viruses, or you know what I mean? If you got a service that's selling them and you can just download them at any point, what if you even have the service where it's like a one-time buy and you get the files, and then if you lose that file, you got to buy it again? That would even work.
Oh, that's all I care about, because that's the thing I watch, really.
We continue to make important strides to position our business to succeed in today's evolving media landscape, says Zaslav. It's no surprise that the significant value of our portfolio is receiving increased recognition by others in the market. The move feeds growing rumors around a potential takeover from Paramount Skydance, which Warner Brothers reportedly turned down this month at $20 a share. They're just trying to get more money.
They want a lot more money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, stock jumped up more than 8% Tuesday. That's what they're doing. A sign that investors are betting real deals could be on the table, even as the company faces...
Well, they better hurry, because as soon as that stock comes back down, you're not even going to be able to sell it at $20 a share.
Pressure to steady its finances.
Here's the kicker, though. Their stock might have jumped up on that announcement. Depending on how fast they sell it, though, it might go down again based on people pulling their subscriptions because the cost went up.
Yeah.
So they're gonna want to capitalize on that. They want to capitalize on it now, which could explain why they're announcing it and that drove the stock up more. But if they like sit on it too long, and then we get to reports later, they're gonna probably find that it's not as valuable because people probably canceled due to the price increase. So if they're gonna want to sell, they're gonna want to sell sooner rather than later.
Yeah, this is all about drive the price up. I think Skydance is the only legitimate offer. I mean, they might, there might be some other companies that play around with it, but if Skydance is trying to build an entertainment empire, having the Warner Brothers catalog and adding it to Paramount is just like, I mean, yeah, that's as close as you're going to get to knocking out Disney with all the stuff they have. And,
because that's what they're gonna have to do.
Yeah, and Disney's getting way too big, way too powerful, to the point where they're going to end up doing the exact same thing, man. They're just going to end up announcing one day, shit, we're going to have to close a whole bunch of studios. We're going to have to sell off everything.
Because Disney has Hulu and ESPN and...
Yes.
And they're shutting down Hulu. So...
And ironically, Netflix and YouTube are still kicking both their asses. So
I know, right? Well, yeah, to compete, that's what they're going to have to do, though. It's very obvious you can't have every studio having its own little streaming service. They need to merge together and have like a big platform. If you had...
Yep, and that's how you get a monopoly or a duopoly or a triopoly. That's how you get entertainment cartels.
Warner Brothers and Paramount and all that, and they got together and just had like a, Skydance Max or some crazy shit like that would have all this stuff on it. That actually would be a contender, especially with stuff like, South Park. And then, over in the HBO side, if they ever get around to doing more, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, man, I remember when Matt and Trey said that eventually South Park, they're going to keep making it until it just eventually fizzles out. And then it's just like going to be forgotten. But I bet they never guessed that it was going to be torn apart by licensing deals.
Whatever spin-offs, I guess they're doing all kinds of shit like that. But where I am concerned is where this leaves animation, because we're already hearing through the grapevine that on the Paramount side, on the Nickelodeon side, people are getting laid off. They're canceling shows. We already know that on the Warner Brothers side, cartoons are not important. Cartoon Network is a shell.
Yeah, it really sucks for Nickelodeon because people just refuse to watch their old stuff for the most part. And as Declassified's pretty good. They need to make a new one. But stuff like Drake and Josh, stuff like iCarly, people refuse to watch because they can notice all the creepy weird shit in it because Dan Schneider and a bunch of other creeps were involved. Like, what's his name? Brian Peck? Yeah, fuck all those people. So it makes it really hard to watch all the old stuff. So they got to come up with new stuff. And the new stuff, nobody knows about, and it fucking sucks.
Of its former self. Adult Swim is a shell of its former self. And we know firsthand that the animation industry is not in a good place right now. A lot of people have been out of work for a couple of years. And I think
this looks like something Oni and G would make.
Because Hollywood, when it comes to this kind of stuff, they've been in a holding pattern because it takes years to produce animation. And they're not going to greenlight something that, like the company's going to be sold by the time this damn thing comes out. It's like, we don't know what's going to happen.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the picture because it was clearly done with some kind of AI because look at the faces of the characters. But I think it's funny that that's all folks is on the bottom of the pants.
Yeah.
And Samurai Jack's facing the threat, which I think is very, very smart right there. Everybody else is like 25% different. It's almost Rigby. It's almost, Johnny Bravo. Anyway.
It's Dorkster and...
Yeah, Dorkster.
Craig's seen some shit.
It's Gumberg.
Gumberg. This is supposed to be a real illustration. I don't know. It's hard to tell anymore, isn't it? It's hard to tell. But yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about Cartoon Network and DC Comics. And look, if Warner Brothers gets sold, it is very possible that they're going to reboot DC because Skydance is going to want to do things differently. They're not going to want to.
Well, yeah, but
bro, they just need to move on, do something else, do something new. Holy shit. We don't need another Batman franchise. We don't need another Superman reboot. There's so many. Do something new. They gotta bank on the IP of something that somebody else made before them and then completely ruin it because they do that every fucking time. Like, holy shit. Just do new stuff. Oh, well, I don't care. I'm not gonna fucking watch it. Even if I do, with all of this crazy nonsense and not being able to actually get the services that I want and provide actual good services, I'm just going to unconventionally acquire it anyway. So it doesn't even fucking matter. And the more this shit happens, the more likely people are going to do that too. And then you're not getting any money. What are you going to do? Donate to the Fables Folly Farm?